Welcome in to Moving the Chains. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks. Got a great interview on up today for our ring season recap. A very special guest, the head coach of the 2022 1A state champion Christchurch Cavaliers, Quin Hatfield. Coach, how you doing today?
Hey, doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing well. And we appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. at Movin Chains. Also our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, etc. This was Coach Hatfield's third year as the head coach of the Cavaliers. They went 14-1 on their way to the state title. So, Coach, people who didn't get to see you guys play this year, what kind of styles were you guys on offense and defense? And what was kind of your mentality you were running out there every week?
Yeah, man. When we talk about in our program, your identity is to play fast and physical. And that's who we are. And if you watch us play defense, we're an attack mentality defense. We're going to hit you. We're going to get after you. And that's how we practice, and that's how we try to play. And we talk about playing fast. Yeah, we like guys to run fast, but we wanted to play fast, right? They watch film, they practice, they know their assignments, so they're able to get after it on both sides of the ball, and certainly in special teams as well. Offensively, we have a very balanced attack this year, and which made us tough to stop. So come watch us play. You're gonna see those elements on the field.
So, Coach Hatfield, obviously you guys had one blemish on the record, state champions. Your offense averaged 43 points a game, the defense with 16 points a game. Who are some of the guys that led the way on both sides of the ball, and maybe a special teams player you want to throw in there?
Yeah, man. We'll start with we'll start special teams since you threw it in. I feel like we had the best kicker in the state, and I'll challenge anybody. We'll host it at Christchurch to have a kickoff out here against anybody. His name's Constantine Gandis. Very accurate, strong leg, made some big kicks for us. I think he had like 52 touchbacks out of 91 kicks. So he was a guy that gave us a weapon, allowed us to do some things special teams wise. And then defensively, let's start up front. Carson Shaw, Hee-Haw, y'all called him, give him that shout out. By the way, he got that nickname at Media Day. Man, he came out Media Day, had a cowboy hat on. And our announcer, Ryan Hornish, he gave him that nickname, and it kind of stuck. You got something?
Yeah, I got something for you, Coach. So I guess we'll see you.
I love it, man. I love it. So he's a force to be reckoned with on that defensive front. He broke the school record in sacks last year. He broke his own record this year, and had a lot of tackles for loss. So he got after it. And we started 3 linebackers this year that were all new starters for us. One guy, Ryan Coley, who was a backup quarterback last year, wanted to play, beefed up in the weight room, worked his tail off, and ended up being a will linebacker. And then Jake Good was a JV quarterback last year and stepped in and led the team in tackles, had right at 100 tackles. And then Cooper Ronchek, the other guy, he was an all-region guy, heck of a player. And then we ended up with 4 seniors in the secondary, kind of led by B.J. Atkins back there as a seasoned veteran. So them guys, they were tough, man. They played well, made some big plays for us. And then offensively, let's start with our quarterback, Woods Wyndham. He's a 2-year starter and senior this year, and kept getting better last year, and really got a lot more confidence this year. Had a great summer, had a great year. And then how about Deshaun Reeder, man? As a guy that he could run now. He could go, and just gives you a lot of options in terms of your run game and explosion, and just a tough runner. And we had several wide receivers, won't mention them all, but I do want to give a shout out to offensive line. That's an area where, we really put an emphasis. We're going to get better up front. And Lads Goldsmith, Lads is probably 5'9", 5'10", 185 pounds. And he was a leader up there, played really well for us. And them guys got a lot better and opened up holes and pass protected and did all the things that allowed us to score a bunch of points this year.
So, Coach, with both sides being so dominant, you talked about the stats a minute ago, did that kind of allow you to be maybe more aggressive on one side or the other, knowing the other side was going to pick you up if something, didn't go the way you wanted it to?
Yeah, no question. We want to attack, right? That's what we want to do on defense. We want to blitz. And man, Coach Wyndham, our defense coordinator, he'll blitz guy out the stands, man. He comes from everywhere, but he's going to do that when he feels like, we can score points, right? So it does allow us to be more aggressive, and we're able to score a good number of points in most of the games this year. Will allow us to fly around and play defense like we want to. And offensively, we can take some shots and, do some things, take risks. Say, man, our defense is going to show up. And like I said, special teams wise allows you to flip field on some stuff, get in field goal range, do things like that, nullify kick return. Now think about when we were getting ready to play Louisville. Y'all were here at that game in the playoff. Dude, they had the best kick return wedge that we had seen all year. And we were like, man, golly, these guys are so good. You could tell they put emphasis on it. Well, really negated that because I think we kicked every one but one of them in the end zone. So just stuff like that allows you to do some different things.
So going back a couple of weeks, we'll look at the state championship game down there in Columbia. You guys won it 43-20 over Johnsonville from the lower state. What did you guys do so well, to be successful in that football game?
Well, I think the number one thing we did is we played really good defense for the most part. We gave up a big run early, and they went up on a 7-0. But we were able to, for the most part, took away their passing attack, blitzed them. They had a hard time blocking us, but they did have some success running the football now. I mean, that's a good football team, had a really good running back in Burrows. But I think what we did well is we stayed true to who we were, right? Even we started slow offensively, we kind of had to figure out what was working. Well, we leveraged our pass game, and they wanted to go man-to-man coverage, and that didn't work out too well for them. Woods got hot and receivers got open. And so, we went in, we were patient, stayed true to who we are, and let our guys make plays, and we trusted them, and they did it, man.
Johnsonville jumped out to the early lead there, second quarter, 7-0. But after you guys took the lead, you never relinquished it. They felt like they had a couple chances where they could have got back in the game, but every time you guys answered the bell, how happy were you with the kind of resiliency that your guys showed, not letting, Johnsonville get really back into that ball game?
Yeah, I mean, our guys are tough, man. I mean, the physical toughness. We talk about mental toughness too in our program. We put them through some things to try to make them, respond to adversity and push through. And so we didn't flinch when they went up 7-0. We knew we'd make some plays, just kind of had to find the right thing. But I was really frustrated in the first half because we got the ball down there on a 3-yard line, I think, and had first and goal and ran it, didn't get in, and then tried to throw it, and they dialed up a nice blitz and sacked us. We go up 29-7 or whatever it would have been, 28-7 there. That would have been a little bit different. Instead, what happened? We didn't get it. And then we got backed up. We actually missed a field goal. I'm talking about Gandis. By the way, I think that field goal was good. I watched the end zone angle. Hey, you ought to look at it. End zone angle, dang thing looks good, man. But anyways, it wasn't any good. So we go in 21-7 halftime, right? All right, we get the ball, second half, don't score. And then what do? They drive right down. And to me, that was a turning point of the game, right? It was a pivotal moment. Boom, goal line stand, knocked them. And then we scored a few plays later. And then we did go for two there, and it made it 29-7, where it could have been 21-14, just like that, right?
Awesome. So yeah, you actually highlighted, some things that we wanted to ask you about. So yeah, that was a great sequence there. But after that, you guys had a lot of these goal line situations this year. Had a big one in the upper state against, rival St. Joe's. And then you also had a big one against Southside Christian. What kind of went into that? Was that more of a mentality thing, something you guys worked on continuously throughout the season, focusing on that goal line defense there?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely worked on it. We try to work on situational stuff in practice. But at the end of the day, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about just, you talk about it all the time, right? As a coach, hey, next play mentality. And we did. You're right. We haven't talked much about that Southside Christian goal line stand, but we're not the region champs, and we don't host all the games in the playoffs without that win, right? And we talked about St. Joe, we talked about the state championship game, but man, that was a huge one because Southside Christian completed a pass. That was late in the game with about 4 minutes left inside the 5-yard line. So it's first and goal inside the 5. And we knock them back, and they end up trying to kick a field goal, which we got a piece of right there and kept us in the game. At that point, it was 13-7. And then we get the ball back right at 2 minutes and drive down and score with 15 seconds left. So just kind of a mentality. What our defense is, look, hey, man, we ain't going to give you nothing. You got to earn it. And we did just what we do, right? Attack. And one in against Johnsonville, man, we sent pressure right up the gap there in A-gap, man, and blew it up, and just part of it's dialing up the right thing. Part of it's guys just making plays and taking pride in that kind of stance.
So, Coach, Christchurch is a program that's had a lot of success, including 55 straight wins at one point, four straight state titles at one point. When you took over in 2020, it had a couple down years, you would say, for the program. How special is it to be able to kind of add another trophy to that case and get these guys back to that level where they were for such a long time?
Oh man, it's awesome. It's something that we've been aiming for, and I've said this a few different times. Right outside of our locker room, you see all of those state championship, what they call plaques or whatever stuff on the wall there, the signage, and And our guys see it all the time, and they say, we're going to get it back there. And we've been building, we've been climbing. Our word around here is elevate. That's been here. That's what I brought when I came, and it's elevate. Your mindset, what you think you can accomplish, right? I got to start here with vision and belief, and then elevate your work ethic in the weight room, on the field, and everything we do. And if we do those things consistently, it leads in elevation of performance. And we won 6 games the first year I was here, 9 last year, and then we won 14 this year. So keep growing and keep working and getting the right people on board. And man, we're thrilled about bringing those state championship back here. It's awesome.
So, Coach, I'm from Greenville County, and I want to educate, some of the fans that may be listening. You got the 3 private schools there in Greenville, and it's mentioned, you guys play 1A, kind of bounce between 1A and 2A. I know there was a controversial comments about private versus public in the high school league, but can you kind of speak to like the difficulties it is for you guys, as far as running your program, being a private school team, playing in the high school league, especially in Greenville County where it's so competitive with so many kids living in that area?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that because, I love the opportunity to talk about our program. We get the opportunity to do that. And, first off, when a kid wants to come to school here, they got to be looking for something different, right? They got to be looking for, a spiritual influence, high academics, and then, of course, the athletic piece as we're talking about it. So, you got to see value in that because you got to pay, right? I mean, you go to plenty, like you said, Greenville County, we got some really good public schools around here. So you got to make a choice to do that. And there's a sacrifice and some levels to do that. And it's tough on our guys academically. And it really is. The course load they have to take, the amount of time they have to put in studying. And, we got our quarterback. We talk about Woods Wyndham. I think Woods had 4 AP classes, might have had 5. He carries a, 4.0, a high SAT score. So he's doing that all in addition to working out and trying to play ball. So you're right. It is different. And there's a lot of different comments back and forth. And one thing I do want to say, it's brought up in different places about, well, you guys can get guys from all over the place, right? They come from outside of the attendance zone. Well, that's not just a private and charter school issue. You got school choice around the state. You mentioned Greenville County, Jerel. Their kids, I don't know how many on Greenville High's football team that don't live in that attendance zone. So
Sure.
I really get frustrated with that narrative of it's a private and charter deal because it's not. It's happening throughout the state. I think we get the target on our back for whatever reason. So, yeah, that's what we do. And by the way, we talk about what we do. We had 27 guys on our varsity football team this year. 6 of them went both ways consistently. So, their challenges, yeah, I get it. We've got some opportunities, but it's the way it is, man. We're going to line up and play wherever and against whoever they want us to do.
Coach, before taking the head coaching job, you kind of ran that junior Cavs program. How's it felt being able to see some of those guys start at such a young age now come up and have the success they're having on the varsity level?
Yeah, man, it's been cool. I got a little bit of a deeper connection with some of those guys because I've known them longer. And those guys are actually just getting to the JV level now. And then a couple of those guys came up from JV to varsity for our playoff run. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to see that growth, to see just that continuity, right? Because that's one of the things we started junior Cavs, like we got to have a foundation. We don't want our guys at Christ Church going to the Malden Rec League to play or going over and playing Red Raider youth football. Why not have it here? If they go to Christ Church, let's have youth football. And we've actually opened it up. Now you don't have to go to school here to be a part of junior Cavs. So we've opened it up to others to teach fundamentals, to, introduce concepts to this great game. But to answer your question, it's been pretty cool to see that and just to me, to see the excitement around football, because I was a parent here and my son was playing middle school football before I was involved with junior Cavs, before I was involved in coaching here. And, man, there just wasn't a lot of excitement around football. The wins weren't like they used to be. And but it's back to where we want it. We're going to continue to grow. Nobody's satisfied. We're going to enjoy this thing to, the calendar year flips to 23 and then it's a new year, right?
All right, so this particular team obviously had a magical run this year. You mentioned earlier in the interview that you guys have been building on this, elevating, from the 4 wins to the 9 wins, to hitting 14 this year. Was there a specific moment, maybe in the spring, over the summer, you've had this group, but every team is different, that you knew that this particular group was going to be special and run to the state championship?
Yeah, well, I mean, we knew that we were going to be we're going to be pretty good just based on the guys we had coming back. And again, the momentum we had last year, and we lost a tough one in the playoffs last year against Newberry and lost a fourth quarter lead. And that stung, right? But then that steam kind of turned into motivation as we went into the off season. And, we saw these guys grinding. We saw, who was showing up consistently for, morning workouts, and spring ball. Had a heck of a spring game that was competitive. And then all summer long, the lineman camps, the 7-on-7s, like we're going against, Oceanside, who played for the 2A championship, right? We beat them in the Ball at the Beach championship down at Coastal. We played Powdersville, beat them once in 7-on-7. They beat us a few times. I think Somerville made a run. We beat them. We went against bigger schools is my point, because we don't back down from anybody. In 7-on-7, I get it ain't 11-on-11, but it teaches you how to compete, right? It's guys against guys. So we knew based on that, hey man, we're going to be pretty good. But we knew that we'd have to win some big games, and the belief was there. And then I had meetings with every single player. I call them player development meetings. I asked them what went well last year, individually, team-wise, what do we need to improve on? And I asked them about their goals, and pretty much, almost 100% of them said goals to win state. All right. So you got all that, then you got a vision, then you got a goal, and it all kind of lined up. And a couple of guys were like, man, it's state or bust this year. And I'm like, man, you can't have that. On one hand, I like that mentality, right? The other hand, that's like an enormous amount of pressure, right? To focus on an outcome. So let's focus on the things that are going to lead us there. And so we shifted, but that's kind of the mindset to give you a little bit of flavor for that.
Perfect.
Well, Coach, got a couple easier ones here before we let you go. So obviously you guys played, 15 games on into December. I know you're a big time hunter. You better get out in the woods much this year with those extra ball games.
Dude, I ain't been in the woods yet, but I'm going. All right, I'm going on December the 27th and December the 28th. I'll be in Manning, South Carolina, in a tree somewhere. And but no, I ain't been able to go, man. But that's all right. I'll take the trophy, and then let's go get a trophy bucket at the end of the year.
There we go.
I hate to hear that, Coach. I finally, covering football and in school and stuff like that, I got to go last weekend, so it felt good to be out.
I'm jealous, man. Did you get one?
I killed a doe Saturday, so yeah.
Hey, meat in the freezer, man.
That's right, Coach. So I got to ask you. You talk about meat in the freezer. I'm a food guy, so I always got to ask about it. I don't get to go over to Greenville as much as I like to. Where do you like to go eat when you're maybe going out? I don't know what you like to do in your free time, but you're going to get something to eat. Where's the Greenville area location that I need to hit up?
Oh man, golly. I will say if you're going downtown, you ever been to Sobeys?
Oh yes, sir.
All right. Great atmosphere, great food, right? If you're going downtown. If you're looking to get something quick, I'd probably say hit Tipsy Taco, man. They'll do you right.
All right, Tipsy Taco and Sobeys. And I got to go. We talked about you being from Manning. Got to ask you about McCabe's. I still haven't been down there. Do you go down there every time you go back home, or?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I get barbecue when I'm down there. Usually somebody's got it, and then that's the place to go. Ain't no doubt, man.
Perfect.
Okay, so maybe when it's before the game, you're maybe on the bus, maybe in the locker room, whatever it is. What's on your pregame playlist getting hyped for those ball games on Friday nights?
Hey man, I put it on Pandora and let Morgan Wallen go, man, and just let that thing and let it roll, man. And then I have to say this just because this is true, and you can ask any of the coaches. When I'm sitting right there, right before the game, a home game that is, in my office, I'll always put on a little bit of Christian music, and I'll play one song that says, if God is for you, who can be against you? And that's kind of a theme verse we've had from Romans, and our God is the name of the song. I'll play that a little bit, just take a little piece right before we go out there, and it just kind of calms me down a little bit.
And I got one more for you. You got a great environment there at Christchurch. We got to see you guys in the playoffs. Wasn't too good of a game because you guys were too good, but you've coached all around the state. And, what's maybe one of the toughest or coolest environments that you've been able to coach or either play in?
Yeah, well, of course, you said Carson Stadium, so it's pretty cool, man, at the home stadium there. But I'll tell you, we went over to Riverside this year. Y'all been to a game over there?
Yes, sir.
It's been a long time, but I have.
Man, I'm going to tell you, they got a student section that's special. They came, I think it was construction night. They had on the hard hats and the vest, and they were there. This is no lie now. I think we hit the field at 6:20 for a 7:30 game, and they were there right at an hour. And I'd say that at least 70% of them, and then everybody by kickoff. So I thought that environment was really cool. And that was a heck of a football game too. So they were in it.
Awesome. Coach, last question for you. I always think about this, when you look at maybe the NFL or some of these bigger leagues, when a team wins, they put out a championship DVD. And it usually starts with maybe either a big loss or a time they had to overcome some adversity, something like that. What will be kind of maybe the start of you guys' championship DVD for this 2022 season?
Well, I think can it be a couple? Can it be
yeah? We put as many cutscenes as you want to in there. Yeah.
Well, I think I go to regular season, right? We're undefeated in the region, and we got 2 games left at the back end of that schedule. Just the way the schedule of St. Joe's and Southside Christian. Knew they'd be really tough games. We say, hey, we win the toss, we're gonna take the ball against St. Joe's, and we won the toss, and about the 3rd or 4th play of the game, we ran a little play called fold and busted it in there and opened it up just right. Deshaun takes it up, big run. They ended up being about a 65, 70-yard run. It carries 2 guys into the end zone. So that set the tone for that game, ended up winning 60-14. And then I think, let's just go with the upper state championship. I put that goal line stand on there that we hit them, man, on 4th and goal from the 1.5. And it was it was 11-yard loss. And then we got the ball the very next play, 87 yards to the house, Deshaun Reeder. So, those would be the plays that kind of set it up and set that tone for that championship DVD video you're talking about.
Well, Coach, this has been great. Definitely all of our listeners and viewers, check out Coach Hatfield and the Christchurch program on Twitter, Facebook, etc. They do a great job with updates of stats and recruit stuff like that. So definitely go check them out. Like I said, follow us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Also movingchains.com. Jerel, anything else for Coach Hatfield before we let him go today?
Oh, no, just continue the good work. Congratulations on a special season, and then what you're doing with that program. It's great to see you guys have success. Really excited to see what you are able to do next year. Hopefully we can get you on for a preview. I know Deshaun Reeder is coming back, and I know he'll be the focal point of that offense next season. But definitely enjoy it. Make sure you get out in the woods and, knock down that trophy buck. And we certainly appreciate your time today.
Hey, man, appreciate what you guys do for high school football, and have a Merry Christmas. Go Cavs.
Appreciate it, Coach. 2022 1A state champions, Christchurch Cavaliers. Thanks, Coach.